going, everyone? My name is Jamar McKinney, or you can just call me Juice because that is my nickname. So today, I want to focus on Lamar Jackson and the NFL Top 100 list. Now, the big headline that is pretty much coming out today is that Lamar Jackson was the number one ranked player on NFL Network's Top 100 list. The list goes, I'll just give you the top five. Lamar Jackson, number 1. Russell Wilson, number 2. Aaron Donald, number 3. Patrick Mahomes, number 4. And Michael Thomas, number 5. Now, usually, I don't make a whole lot of episodes reacting to these lists, Everyone was so caught up on the Madden ratings and things of that nature. I personally don't really care about those things. A lot of these things are for clickbait and just for topics of discussion, for ratings. And, if I was a guy that, owned a show on a major network, hey, I would be trying to find a bunch of stories to talk about. But, I'm not quite there yet, so I can kind of chill and do my own thing right here. But either way, what people have to realize about the NFL 100 list is that it is voted on by the players. So automatically, it is going to be skewed and flawed in itself. These players, they play the game of football. They know football. They're on the field. So their opinion does sort of matter to me. Okay, it really does in my opinion. But see, what people have to realize is we don't know when these votes were taking place, We don't know who was asked to vote. Were these votes taken after the Super Bowl? Because before the Super Bowl, I felt that Russell Wilson was arguably the best player in all of football. Then Patrick Mahomes kind of, came around, took his beer and said, hey, Russell Wilson, no, it's me, Patrick Mahomes. I'm the best player in football. So if I were to give a vote, I would say Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football right now. Probably second would be either Aaron Donald or Russell Wilson. That's just my opinion, though. The list was very flawed due to the fact that they did not have Carson Wentz on the top 100. Matthew Stafford also did not make the top 100, and Josh Allen is on the list. He's not a top 100 player. Sorry, Buffalo Bills fans. But either way, I'm not here to bash the list. I'm really not here to bash Lamar Jackson either. I just want to kind of evaluate Lamar Jackson and this list a little bit right here. So let's talk about Lamar Jackson. Is Lamar Jackson the best player in football? No, he's not. Okay, he's not. Okay, I think Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. I can't definitively say that you're the best player in the sport when you don't have a single playoff victory. Not Russell Wilson, I'm sorry. Lamar Jackson has struggled in the playoffs. There's no other way to slice it. Have the Baltimore Ravens, as a team struggled as well? Definitely. But listen, Lamar Jackson, in his playoff career, in 2 games started, he's got a 51% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, and a 68.3 passer rating. That's not very good, okay? And listen, if you're the best football player in the world, and Lamar Jackson is not at that level right now, that title belongs to Patrick Mahomes. If you're that guy, I expect you to elevate in the biggest moments under pressure. And Lamar Jackson in the playoffs has not gotten it done. And let's not act like Lamar Jackson has not had a good team around him. He's had very good running backs. The Baltimore Ravens have been one of the best teams in all of football. Very good defense, very good offensive line, above average weapons, very good head coach. And Lamar Jackson has not gotten it done in the playoffs, okay? And if you're the best in the world, I expect you to elevate under pressure. I expect you to make those big boy throws when the wide receivers are not significantly wide open. I expect you to elevate my offensive line. I expect you to make something happen when we're down 10 or 12 or 14 or 20 points, like Patrick Mahomes did in the playoffs. Down 10 points to Tennessee, he made it happen. Down 24-0 to the Houston Texans, he made it happen in the playoffs. Down 10 points to the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, he made it happen. So is Lamar Jackson the best player in football? No, he's not. But I will say this about Lamar Jackson. I believe by the end of next year, we could be talking about Lamar Jackson as officially the best player in football. And you might be thinking to yourself, why do you say that? Well, let's evaluate Lamar Jackson. Last year in the regular season, Lamar Jackson led his team to a 14-2 record. He led the league in touchdown passes. He only threw 6 interceptions. He was 6th in rushing yards, okay? He had more rushing yards than Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, and Dalvin Cook. and he's a quarterback. So that should tell you all you need to know about Lamar Jackson. He definitely deserved that MVP, and he was the unanimous MVP, okay? But see, let's do this hypothetical right here. What if Lamar Jackson wins a Super Bowl next year? Ooh, he's going to be in that conversation for best player in football if he wins a Super Bowl next year. Because let me tell you something right now. Some people think Lamar Jackson may slow down this upcoming season. I disagree. Because while defenses know what Lamar Jackson presents to the table, it's very hard to stop a guy that's that quick, that is that athletic, and that good of a decision maker and a fairly accurate quarterback. He's very hard to stop. He's very hard to game plan for. And keep in mind, Lamar Jackson has an off season just like everyone else. He could get better. He could work on his deep ball accuracy. He could study the film and realize, hey, what did I do wrong right here? Lamar Jackson could get better as a player. And let me tell you something right now. The Baltimore Ravens, they may have the best roster in the NFL right now. I mean, the defense was already very good last year. They had Calais Campbell to that defensive line, which was already ferocious. They added Patrick Queen in the 2020 NFL Draft, a guy that to me was the best middle linebacker in the draft. You got arguably the best secondary in all of football between Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphrey, Earl Thomas, and, Jimmy Smith. That's a pretty good secondary. It might be the best secondary in all of football. And in the AFC, outside of Kansas City, who maybe has a better roster? I don't think Houston has a better roster. I don't think Pittsburgh has a better roster. I don't think that the New England Patriots, as good as Cam Newton is, I don't think they have a better roster than the Baltimore Ravens. Last year, the Patriots faced the Baltimore Ravens. They got smoked in the regular season. So listen, Lamar Jackson is going to have a shot to win a Super Bowl this year. This Baltimore Ravens team is loaded. And what if Lamar Jackson wins MVP again this year? Because let me tell you something right now. The Baltimore Ravens, I believe they can win 11, 12, or even 13 games this year. If Lamar Jackson puts up similar numbers to what he did last year and the Ravens win 12 or 13 games, which is very possible based on their schedule and based on the roster that they have. Did you see their 2020 NFL Draft? Do you see the players they have? If Lamar Jackson, by the end of next year, is a two-time league MVP and has a Super Bowl trophy, and maybe along the way, he beat Patrick Mahomes in a route to getting to the Super Bowl, maybe he beats Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship game, he would already have the same amount of Super Bowls as Patrick Mahomes. He'd have more MVPs possibly, and ultimately, I know Patrick Mahomes threw 50 touchdown passes in his first season as a starter, but let me tell you something right now. Leading the league in touchdown passes and having more rushing yards than Dalvin Cook and Todd Gurley, that sort of hits different. Lamar Jackson had one of the 5 to 7 greatest MVP seasons last year. And here's another fact. Lamar Jackson, 19-3 as a starter in his career in the regular season. That's pretty darn good. That's an 86% winning percentage. And by the way, there's this narrative out there that Lamar Jackson is just going to magically somehow get hurt because he runs around too much. Well, why are we not keeping that same energy for Aaron Rodgers, who's had 2 collarbone surgeries in his career? Why are we not talking about the fact that Carson Wentz has been virtually injured at some point every single season throughout his young career? We're not even talking about the fact that Deshaun Watson has had 2 ACL surgeries, okay, one in college and one in the NFL. Can we at least see Lamar Jackson get hurt before we assume that that guy is going to be injury prone? I mean, come on now, people. Let me tell you something right now. If Lamar Jackson goes out and wins a Super Bowl next year, and it's very possible based on the roster that the Ravens have, if he wins a Super Bowl next year and maybe another MVP, he is going to be right there with Patrick Mahomes as the best player in football. Because as good as Aaron Rodgers is, as good as Drew Brees is, as good as Tom Brady is, these older guns at quarterback, even Big Ben Roethlisberger, who was hurt last year, these older quarterbacks, even Phillip Rivers, they're declining. They're not at the peak of their career. I still think Aaron Rodgers is great, but this is not Aaron Rodgers from 2011 or 2014 when he was winning MVPs. Aaron Rodgers is still great, but he's not quite as good as he once was. Same with Tom Brady, same with Drew Brees, and same with Phillip Rivers, who to me is completely washed. These older guns that have dominated the NFL and have been in the top 5 hierarchy of the NFL, we see guys like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, they're passing them by. And Lamar Jackson, if he wins the Super Bowl next year, I guarantee you, if you turn on ESPN the next day, if you turn on Fox Sports 1 the next day, they might be talking about Lamar Jackson as the best player in football if he wins the Super Bowl this upcoming season. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I currently am a freshman there right now. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.